out the motherfucking pack.
Right out
But
the
niggas don't know
bag.
how to act.
Hello, and welcome back to yet another draft video. I'm pissed because I just recorded this shit and I thought it went really well and the fucking audio fucked up for some reason. So, no mic today, which means it can't fucking die on me middle of the recording, so whatever. How y'all doing, man? I'm doing well because you smell that? It's not my musty, crusty room. It is the draft looming tomorrow. Tomorrow, it's the draft. Are you fucking kidding me? It's the draft. I still got my final mock draft coming out tomorrow as well. But man, today we're going to talk about my top 10 hot takes for the draft. So let me not hold you, man. This should not be that long of a video. I'm going to try and make it short and sweet for y'all. Let's get right into it, man. And look, I'm not going to I'm not going to pull any punches here. Let's get straight into it. JJ McCarthy falls out of the first round and will be the sixth quarterback selected. Think about what I just said. JJ McCarthy, not top five, not top 10, second round, sixth quarterback selected. Caleb, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Michael Penix, Bo Nix, and then you got McCarthy over here. Listen. I understand that there's been a lot of McCarthy hate, and I've pushed a good amount of it. Don't get me wrong, but McCarthy's not a bum, right? But listen to me for a second, please. I do believe there is a conspiracy taking place, okay? And I do believe that it is very similar to what happened last year. Follow me with Will Levis, right? Because what happened with Will Levis, right? Let's think about this. Before the draft, nobody, and I mean nobody, was talking about this guy, Will Levis out of Kentucky, a first round pick. Nobody thought that. But all of a sudden, as draft season started to roll around, Will Levis all of a sudden out of nowhere became a top five pick. Will Levis, top three pick. Will Levis, number four overall to the court. All of this bullshit out of nowhere, literally, completely generated, fabricated, really. And I do believe that behind the scenes, there are some powerful people that push these narratives simply for drama, if nothing else, during draft season. I don't know why, but Will Levis was a victim of that last season. He thought that he was going to go top five, top 10, and he fell to the second round because guess why? When it came time to actually, put your job on the line to draft Will Levis top five, nobody was going to do it. I predicted that. And I think the same thing's going to happen with JJ McCarthy. All these people are saying all these nice things about JJ McCarthy. But I think when it comes time on draft day to make that phone call, to make that selection, these GMs aren't going to draft JJ McCarthy in the first round. Are you kidding me? Look, to get into the actual player, I think McCarthy is a mid to late second round player. Okay. And when we talk about his game overall, I think a lot of his issues come down to point blank, he's not ready. He cannot play in the NFL next season. No way. 0% chance. Definitely not as a starter. I wish he would have went back to college because he's simply not ready. He's an unfinished product, okay? And when you compare him to guys like Bo Nix, Michael Penix, who are polished, ready to go, plug and play in an NFL system, how the hell are you going to take JJ McCarthy over those guys? Honestly, it's not rocket science, really. And look, man, nothing against McCarthy. I wish he wouldn't have got this ridiculous hype out of nowhere. But the guy's not a first round pick. He's not that guy. And if he does go in the first round, God forbid, if he goes in the top 10 or even the top five and a team asks him to play year one, it's going to be a disaster because the kid's not ready. He can't read a defense. He is not accurate enough between the numbers. He does not see the field. He doesn't get to his third or fourth read. He's just not ready, point blank. And if you're going to try and develop him on the fly, that usually doesn't go too well. So man, whoever takes Jason McCarthy in the first round, I don't think they will. I just think he's going to fall. But if they do, man, they'll probably be the fucking Broncos. Next up, let's talk about the cornerback class for a little bit. Last season, I had some hot takes regarding the cornerbacks. I was low on guys like Devon Witherspoon, Emmanuel Forbes. In hindsight, I was dead wrong about Witherspoon. Pretty right actually about Emmanuel Forbes, but I thought there was a lot of variation in the cornerback class last season. This season, there's some variation, but honestly, let's look at the big five here: Kool-Aid, Nate Wiggins, Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, and Terrion Arnold. Honestly, I feel like this is a legendary cornerback class. I think at least four of these guys are going to be Pro Bowlers and be Pro Bowlers early. Honestly, I think Nate Wiggins, Terrion Arnold, Cooper DeJean, I'm pretty comfortable with. Like I'm not really worried about those guys. I think all three of those guys are going to be studs in the NFL. Quinyon Mitchell, I feel like, is a little bit more boomer bust. And what I mean by that is I think he could come out right away, with the swagger, a little bit of trash talking, his aggressive play style, a ball hawk maybe right away, and he could be a star. Or he could take a little too many chances. He could get burnt over the top and he could be Emmanuel Forbes. I'm just saying, I could see that as a possibility. And then you got Kool-Aid McKinstry, who just fell off a cliff post-season because I think he had an injury or he didn't run well at the combine or something like that. And his name has kind of been, he's kind of fallen behind in this group right here. But I still think he's going to be a very good NFL cornerback. So I'm honestly, I'm fairly confident that at least four of these guys are going to be Pro Bowlers at some point in their career. So I just think it's a great cornerback class overall. Next up, you know, only one running back in the first two rounds. I think when I look at this running back class, right, I don't see a bell cow. I don't see a guy who's going to get 200 carries year one, right? I think guys like, Bucky Irving, for example, could get 200 plus touches, but it's going to be, like Rashad White, 50, 60 catches, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't see a bell cow. And for a guy to go in the first round or go in the top 50, 60 picks, you need to be a bell cow. I think Jonathan Brooks could have been that guy, but look, if we're being honest with each other, right, this is such a deep and such a loaded running back class that if you have all these guys to choose from, are you really going to be the team that chooses the guy coming off a big time injury? And that's unfair. That's not fair to Jonathan Brooks, but life isn't fair. And if I was a GM and my job was on the line, I'm not taking the running back coming off a serious injury. So I don't think he's going to go in the first two rounds. And then you have Blake Corum. You know, I do think he could be the guy possibly the most likely to be a bell cow day one, get maybe 180, 190 carries as a rookie if he's healthy because he's going to get a lot of short yardage stuff like that. So I think he would be the guy to go in the first two rounds. But honestly, man, because of how deep it is and because of how loaded it is, you could probably get a guy in the fifth round that's pretty damn close to the guys you see on the screen right here. Would you rather spend a second round pick or a fifth round pick? You know what I mean? So I just I don't know who the first team is going to be to take a running back, but I think when that happens, they might start flying. Okay, so we'll see about that. Next up, we got this it is a legendary receiver class. Honestly, I say that with confidence. And it could have been even better. Can you imagine if we had a Buka as well, like a Emeka Buka in here as well? Like, it would have been even crazier. But taking a look at the guys we have, 12 receivers in the top 50. It sounds like a lot, but when you think about it, let's pencil them in, right? Marvin Harrison, lock. Odunze Malik Neighbors, locks. A.D. Mitchell, Brian Thomas, Xavier Worthy, locks. Troy Franklin, Lad McConkey, locks. And then you got, hear me out here. Keon Coleman, Jalen Polk, Xavier Legette, probably, certainly all going in the top two rounds, probably all going in the top 50. And then I only need one more. I only need one more. It could be Malachi Corley. It could be Ricky Pearsall. It could be Devontae Walker, but I doubt it. It could be Roman Wilson, but I doubt it. And it has to be 12 out of the top 50. And if you include tight ends, like it could be 14 pass catchers in the top 50, which would be insane. It just goes to show, man, when you think about it, we like to think that this era of the NFL is just loaded. Every team is loaded with a receiver, but think about all the teams last season that just really struggled with their receiving core. Patriots, awful receivers. Panthers, awful receivers. Cardinals, not good. Titans, besides DeAndre Hopkins, not good. Jets, besides Garrett Wilson, not good. So a lot of teams really struggled last season with receiving core. And I think a lot of these teams that have been kind of, not accustomed to taking receiver high, we're going to see them come out of their shell a little bit. I think receivers are going to fly off the board early and often. Next up, this is a pretty simple one. There will not be any trades in the top 10. I do not. All I have to do is I need two things to happen here. I need the Chargers to stick and pick at number 5 because all I need for that to happen is them to fall in love with Brock Bowers or Malik Neighbors. I think they've already done that. I don't think they're passing up on getting those guys. I don't think they're going to trade with the Vikings and move down because I think they know Brock Bowers and Malik Neighbors are not going to be there at number 11. So they're just going to stick and pick and get their guy number 5. And the Patriots, I don't think they're going to pass up on Jaden Daniels or Drake May. So all I need for this to happen is the Chargers and the Patriots to stay put because I don't think any other team in the top 10 is going to move down. So, yeah, this is a pretty simple one, but it's pretty vanilla in effect, because no trades in the top 10. I think it just means everybody is happy where they're at and what prospects they could be potentially getting. Next up, we got the Vikings here. The Vikings will not trade up, certainly not trade up and draft JJ McCarthy, but they will stay put and draft either will draft either Michael Penix or Bo Nix. Well, let me break it down for you. When when the Vikings made that trade to get the Texans first round pick, a lot of people just assumed it was so that they could package those picks, move up and draft a quarterback in the top 5. I did not see it that way at all. I thought that the Vikings were not prepared to lose Kirk Cousins. So I thought the Vikings this whole time had their eyes set on a positional player at number 11, whether that's Laiatu Latu, Nate Wiggins, Quinyon Mitchell, whoever it is. I thought they had their eyes set on a guy at number 11. And once Kirk left, they made an emergency move to acquire an extra first round pick and use that pick to select their quarterback, which would be Michael Penix or Bo Nix. Honestly, I feel like either of these guys would absolutely thrive in the Vikings offense. So I don't really think it matters. I think Penix would be slightly better, but either or, take your pick, whoever you like at 23. And look, if they're in love with one of these guys, then you probably want to take him at number 11. But if you think both these guys are good and they both fit in your system, then stay put at 23, take a positional player at 11 and see who falls to you. So, the Vikings are set up well. This whole they have to trade up. If they traded both of their first round picks to draft JJ McCarthy in the top 5, I would give them an F. I would give them an F because that would be an awful move when they could just stay put, get an amazing positional player at 11, and then draft Michael Penix or Bo Nix. They are set up so easily for a great draft, but it seems like that's just not even a possibility to some people. So I think that's what they're going to do. Next up, only 4 defensive linemen in the first round. I've been seeing a lot of mock drafts that have 6, even 7 guys going in that first round, and I don't see it, honestly. That's not to say this defensive line class isn't talented, but honestly, I just don't really see it. I think there's a lot of offensive linemen, a lot of cornerbacks, a lot of quarterbacks, a lot of wide receivers. There's just not really that much room for the D linemen. So I think Dallas Turner in the top 10, that's a lock. I think Jared Verse and Laiatu Latu, both in the top 20, at the top 25 at the least, they're both locks. I think there's going to be one D tackle. I think it would be Johnny Newton. Maybe it's Byron Murphy. I'm not really that high on Byron Murphy, though. I think he could fall. So one D tackle in the first round, probably. And then, guys like Chop Robinson, Darius, is it Darius Robinson out of Missouri? Whatever his name is. I don't think those guys are first rounders. I don't think they're going to be, drafted that highly. So, like I said, a lot of mock drafts that have 6, 7 guys going. I only got 4, maybe 5 at most, but I'm going to say 4 in the first round. Next up, we got Jim Harbaugh drafts at least 3 Michigan players. Let's think about this now. Because at first I was only going to say 2. Because I hear some people saying, he's only going to get 1 Michigan player. He's not going to take any Michigan players. I don't believe that whatsoever. And I don't even think it has to do with bias. I think it's smart. Why not load up on guys that you already know their personality and how hard they work and how they play? I think it's a smart move. So let's look at some of the options here. You got Mikey Sanders still, Chris Jenkins, Cornelius Johnson, Roman Wilson, Zach Zinter, Junior Colson, and even not included here, Blake Corum. You know, like there's a lot of options for Jim Harbaugh, and a lot of these guys he could really use Sanders still. He could really use Roman Wilson, Zach Zinter, Junior Colson. Like there's a lot of options here. So honestly, he might grab more than 3. To be honest, I don't think that would be a bad decision. So You know, people like to think that when a college coach gets hired to the NFL, it's unprofessional or it's biased for him to draft his players. I don't see why. Go ahead, pick up 3 or 4 Michigan players, Jim. I think it'd be a good decision. Next up, we got. I hate this. Is so stupid to me. There is no way on earth Brock Bowers falls out of the top 10. Every mock draft I see now has the Vikings trading up to number 5 and the Chargers sitting back and drafting Brock Bowers at 11. There is no way Brock Bowers falls to 11. If he gets outside the top 6, a team is jumping up with the Falcons or the Titans, and they're drafting Brock Bowers without a second thought. So there is no way he makes it to 11. But I made it even a little more bold and said he does not fall outside the top 6. I think the Chargers are going to take him at number 5, and if they don't, I think the Giants are going to take him. Because guess what? If the Chargers don't take him, it's because they took Malik Neighbors. And then you got the Giants deciding between Brock Bowers or Rome Odunze. Both great players, but I think they choose Brock Bowers there. Brock Bowers is the greatest tight end prospect ever. Okay, there is simply no way with his game-changing explosivity at the tight end position, he just simply won't fall outside the top 10. And I think he's going to go at either 5 or 6. So, yeah, I'm putting a kibosh to all of that ridiculous talk. Next up, actually, I think this is the last one already. Yep. Lastly, there will be 3 rookie All Pros this season. Let me break it down for you. Last season, you only had 2. You had Puka Nacua, Sam Laporta. Now, you could have made the case for some other guys, C.J. Stroud, Devon Witherspoon, guys like that. But you look at the guys that could do it this year, right? Look at Caleb Williams. If we're being honest here, especially if the Bears took a guy like Rome Odunze at number 9, Caleb would have a much better offense to start than Stroud had last season, right? Odunze, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, DeAndre Swift, Cole Kmet, an improved O-line, like that would be, on paper, way better than what Stroud had last season in Houston. Not way better, but significantly better. And you got Brock Bowers. No disrespect to Sam Laporta, but you're telling me Brock Bowers can't do what Laporta did last season? Absolutely. Especially if he went to Justin Herbert. Joe Alt as a rookie. Look, this would probably require a guy at the top to get hurt in terms of left tackles in the league. But man, Joe Alt as a rookie, I think he has what it takes. I think he's that good. I think he's a generational tackle prospect, which means come in right away and be that guy. I think he could make an all-pro team as a rookie. And then Laiatu Latu. I should have included this, but I'm gonna just include this with this slide. I think Laiatu Latu has the best chance to make an all-pro team as a rookie, and I do think he's going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. He is the most complete player in terms of just defense in general. He's the most complete player. He's a finished product. He has the most widest variety of pass rush moves, finesse and power, and I think he's just ready, plug and play, to be a dominant pass rusher. I could easily see 12, 12 and a half, 13 sacks as a rookie. As a rookie. And if that's the case, an all-pro team is not far-fetched whatsoever. So I think Laiatu Latu, possible, my pick for Defensive Player of the Year, as well as an all-pro. And I think there will be more all-pros in this rookie class than even last year's. So that's going to be it for this video. This is a lot shorter than most of my videos, but man, thank you for watching. I'm going to have about 8 videos up in the next 8 days probably. So if you want to be a part of that journey, man, go ahead and subscribe. I will talk to y'all later. And yeah, thanks for watching. Peace.
It's out the motherfucking pack. Right out. But niggas don't know how to act.